Chapter 15, Simple Machines. Since ancient times, man used machines to make their jobs easy. Strategies used to make the job easy are known as simple machines. We will be learning about 4 types of simple machines: lever, inclined plane, pulley, wheel and axle. First, let's discuss about levers. As you know, it's going to be difficult to lift and remove a large log or a rock with hands. If you want to lift it, then you need to apply a force which is equal to the weight of that object. You may have experience in your day-to-day life that one end of a metal rod or a crowbar is kept under the rock or a log and pushed down from the other end. This mechanical device is a lever. In such a situation, the effort that should be applied or the force that should be applied to lift the load is going to be less than the weight of the load. Now let's do an activity to find out why the levers make our jobs easier. Activity 15.1. You need to set up the apparatus as shown in figure 15.7. In this setup, A equals to the distance from the book to the support P. X equals to the distance from the support P to the point in which the Newton spring balance is attached. So in this experiment, you need to keep the distance A constant and change the distance X by attaching the Newton spring balance at different places. We need to take several readings by keeping the value of X greater than A and less than A. Now let's look at the observations of this experiment. The Newton spring balance will be pulled down in the downwards direction, while simultaneously the book will be lifted vertically in the upwards direction. And this movement will change depending on the point at which the Newton spring balance is attached. When X is greater than A, the force necessary to lift the book is less than the weight of the book. Now this can be easily recorded by the measurements taken from the Newton spring balance. Therefore, when the X is greater than A, we have an advantage. When X is less than A, the force necessary to lift the book is greater than the weight of the book. But even in this situation, we have an advantage. The book moves farther than the point where the balance is attached moves. That means there's a certain distance in which the Newton spring balance will move in the downwards direction, and there's a certain distance in which the book will move vertically in the upwards direction. So this movement of the book will be greater than the movement of the Newton spring balance in the downwards direction, and therefore this is an advantage which can be used in certain applications. In all the above instances, the force applied on the lever is downwards to lift the book upwards. This change of direction of force is also another advantage of a lever. Now let's look at the parts of a lever. The force applied on the lever downwards is known as the effort. The lever will lift the weight of the books. Therefore, the weight lifted by the lever is the load. Load is balanced by the effort by a wooden support. The point of the wooden strip that contacts with the lever is called the fulcrum. The part of the lever from effort to fulcrum is known as the effort arm. The part of the lever from load to the fulcrum is known as the load arm. Now, as we have discussed earlier, when the length of the effort arm is greater than the load arm, the book could be lifted up by applying a force less than the weight of the book. Now that is an advantage, and this advantage of the machine is known as the mechanical advantage, and that can be calculated by dividing the load by the effort. Now let's do a calculation. If a load of 36 newtons is lifted by applying an effort of 12 newtons, calculate the mechanical advantage. Mechanical advantage is the ratio between load and effort. Therefore, it is equal to 36 newtons divided by 12 newtons. The mechanical advantage of this machine is 3. Levers can be divided into 3 orders: first order levers, second order levers, and third order levers. Now first let's consider first order levers, the levers in which the fulcrum acts between load and effort are called as first order levers. Examples are seesaw, pair of scissors, forceps, and also using a crowbar or a metal rod to lift a weight comes under first order levers. Second order levers are levers in which the load acts between effort and fulcrum. So in this situation, the effort arm is, the length of the effort arm is longer than the length of the load arm. So as we have discussed earlier, in such a situation, the effort applied is less. Therefore, there's a mechanical advantage greater than 1 in second order levers. Examples are the nutcracker and wheelbarrow. The blade and the rod of the nutcracker turns around the pin by which they are coupled. Therefore, that pin is the fulcrum. Load acts on the object that is to be cut. The effort is applied at the far end of the handle. Third order levers are levers in which effort acts between the load and the fulcrum. Now, in this case, the effort arm is less than the load arm. Therefore, as we have discussed earlier, in such situation, the effort that should be applied to carry a load is greater than the weight of the load, but there is an advantage. Now, before that, let's look at some examples. The human arm, brooms, fishing rods, and tongs come under third order levers. Now, let's look at the advantage in the third order levers. Load arm is always longer than the effort arm in third order levers. Effort which is greater than the load has to be applied to balance that rod. The mechanical advantage is always less than 1. As you know, mechanical advantage is equal to load divided by effort. So when the effort is greater than the load, the mechanical advantage will be less than 1. These levers are advantageous because load moves more for a small motion of the effort. So when we move the force, or the movement of force is a small distance, the movement of the load is a larger distance. So we have this advantage which is used in fishing rods. Velocity ratio of a machine can be calculated by dividing the displacement of effort by the displacement of load. Now, as you can see in this lever, when you apply an effort in the downwards direction, the effort has to be applied to a certain distance, right? Simultaneously, the load in the other end will move a certain distance in the upward direction. Therefore, the distance traveled by the effort in the downwards direction is known as the displacement of effort, while the distance traveled by the load in the upwards direction is known as the displacement of load. Therefore, velocity ratio of a machine can be written as displacement of effort divided by displacement of load. Now, this is going to be the displacement of effort, the distance traveled in the downwards direction by the effort, and this is going to be the displacement of the load, the distance traveled in the upward direction by the load. Mathematically, according to mathematics, the same value can be obtained by dividing the length of the effort arm by the length of the load arm. The larger the velocity ratio of a machine, the smaller the effort that should be applied on it. Therefore, based on the velocity of the machine, we can get an idea about the effort that should be applied. Now, let's do a calculation. Displacement of effort equals to 60 centimeters and displacement of load is equal to 15 centimeters. Now, calculate the velocity ratio. The velocity ratio of that lever is going to be 60 centimeters divided by 15 centimeters, which is equal to 4. Theoretically, this means that the effort that should be applied to lift a load using that machine is 1/4 of the load. So, the effort that should be applied is going to be 1/4 of that load. But practically, the effort does not decrease so much as 1/4 of the load because of friction in system. The mechanical advantage of a machine is always less than its velocity ratio. Now let's discuss about work input and work output. When we have to get work done from a machine, we have to work on the machine. So work done on the machine is known as work input. When the work input is given to a machine, some amount of work is done by the machine. So the work done by the machine is known as work out. Now let us do a calculation. of a lever if effort is 50 newtons and the load lifted is 150 newtons, and displacement of effort is equal to 60 centimeters and displacement of load is equal to 15 centimeters, calculate the efficiency of the machine. In this case, first of all, let's calculate the work input. The work input is going to be the work done on the machine. As you know, when you apply a force, and if the force is acting along a certain direction, the work done can be calculated by multiplying the force by the distance traveled by the force. Therefore, work done on the lever or work input can be calculated by multiplying the effort by displacement of effort. Now let's do the calculations. The effort is 50 newtons and the displacement of effort is 60 centimeters. Therefore, in these calculations, we need to substitute the distance in SI units. And the SI unit of distance is meters. Therefore, we need to divide 60 by 100 in order to convert centimeters into meters. So the final answer is going to be 30 joules. Work done is calculated in joules. Now let's try to calculate the work done by the lever or the work output. Now that is going to be equal to load multiplied by displacement of load. So the load is 150 newtons and the displacement of load is 15 centimeters. Now let's convert it into SI units and do the calculation. So the answer is going to be 22.5 joules. Now how do we calculate the efficiency of a machine? The efficiency of a machine can be calculated by dividing the work output by the work input and multiplying it by 100. Therefore, in this situation, the work output is 22.5 joules and the work input is 30 joules and the efficiency is 75%. Now, let us try to find another equation to find the efficiency of a machine. So, this is the equation that we just found. So, this can also be written as load multiplied by distance traveled by load divided by effort multiplied by distance traveled by effort. So what we have done is we have expanded the equation work output divided by work input and we have substituted work output and work input. As you have learnt earlier, velocity ratio is equal to displacement of effort divided by displacement of load. So now considering this part, you can see this is going to be the reciprocal of velocity. You can see that load divided by effort equals to mechanical advantage. Therefore, the efficiency of a machine can also be written as mechanical advantage multiplied by the reciprocal of velocity ratio. And finally, we can write this equation as mechanical advantage divided by velocity ratio.